Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the little bit of a delay, but technical difficulties made a last-minute surge and charge into the facility, and we did our best to fend them off, and we did. So
we did, and it's funny, Brooks, because I said to myself, "Go upstairs and make sure that everything is working." I came up a half hour early because I wanted to make sure everything was going to work, and all of a sudden, technical difficulties. And for a half an hour, I scrambled trying to figure out the problem. And then at the very last minute, I figured out what the fucking problem was, and all is fixed. And here we are. Ryan Hansen, yes, technical difficulties. We just wanted to make you a little nervous about whether or not we'd be here or not. But we are here, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, and we've got already folks in the world's most dangerous chat zone. Oh, folks, by the way, my name is Brooks. That's Ben. This is Topic Thunder. You don't need that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, you go here, by the way. You're on top.
Oh, hey, I'm on top.
You're on top.
Okay,
hey.
All right. Hey, how's that?
Hey.
And folks, if you're listening and participating on the YouTube, on the Twitch, on the Facebook, thank you. You are officially part of the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call that the Thunderdome, and we welcome you into the program. I guess before we get to the first official segment of the show, let's just kind of put it out there that we are clearly going to talk about some difficult things to talk about. We are going to do our best to navigate them in the way that we traditionally have done, as to just try to find out what the truth is and have a conversation about that. We're not here to inflame anything. And I think we've covered enough sensitive topics around the world that all of us here kind of know what the rules and the boundaries are in the Thunderdome. Fair warning.
Things are going to get maybe a tad controversial tonight. I've got some thoughts, and I don't know. And I'm coming to the Thunderdome. I'm coming to you with these thoughts that I haven't completely shared with you or the Thunderdome or my Facebook yet. And so I'm wondering if I'm looking at this the wrong way or the right way, or but we'll get into it here in just a second. But before we do that, ladies and
gentlemen, let's everybody, whatever your drink or smoke of choice or whatever else you decide to do.
I'm drinking sweetened black cherry, sparkling water.
Sweetened black cherry?
Yeah, it's sweetened. So it's not. Remember, we talked about this before. It's got to be sweetened.
Okay.
It can't be that bullshit that like tastes like fucking burps. The unsweetened seltzer water is for the fucking birds.
Okay. All right. I do like this. All right. So I'm the birds, clearly. But birds are cool because they're former dinosaurs. So rawr.
Rawr.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the pretty lady took a trip to St. Louis to visit.
I did forget the Guinness. Son of a bitch.
Son of a god. Damn. All right. Show's over. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. You can join off the deck of the USS Rapapa is a flaming crash.
I have let you all down on multiple levels tonight.
That's it. There's no story in this show that can redeem this entire situation. The only thing I can offer is the crack of an ice cold beer. And this is Jaffley's Oktoberfest. If you're
okay, I was wondering if it was going to be the raspberry Hefeweizen.
I think she just yelled at me for something. Did I say that? It's Shaffley's.
Maybe you mispronounced something, which is always her favorite.
Oh yeah, she loves it, and I hear about it all week. This is my escape. It's their version of Oktober.
Schlafly.
Yeah, it's a St.
Schlafly. That's a really difficult name to pronounce.
It's spelled
Oh, hi, Margie.
SCHLA. Hey, Margie! Holy! All right, okay. So this show just got this.
Wow, yeah.
The St. Louis Mafia is here, ladies and gentlemen. So my lovely girlfriend took a trip to St. Louis over the weekend and visited this particular brewery that's on your screen right now. And you can pronounce, yeah, right. And we've actually, Ben, we've done beers from this particular brewery on the show before. This is their Oktoberfest offering. No lie, I've already had some because I couldn't resist. It's delicious. And
oatmeal stout. That's weird.
Oh, cheers, dude. That would be in line with some of the type of flavor and texture profile of a Guinness.
Got it.
Okay, so Guinness would be that kind of stout. You might like a coffee stout. It legit just tastes. Yeah,
I'm a big coffee guy.
You like cold coffee?
Yeah, sure. I like iced coffee. Yeah.
Okay, so mix like a coffee into like a Guinness. But you don't know what the fuck
I wouldn't know. We could be talking about how I felt about a Guinness, but no.
But here we are.
I failed to come through once again.
Now.
Yeah, I suck balls. Sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually gonna I'm gonna literally write a reminder to set a reminder for myself to remind you.
Thank you. And yeah, because that's the only way that's gonna happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Inception
I'm such an asshole.
Scenario that I'm setting a reminder to remind myself to remind Ben.
Right, because I can't be just reminded myself. I can't be adult enough to remind myself. I have to have my friend set an alarm to remind me to remind myself.
So
do
Ben,
something that I said I was going to do.
Why don't we talk about some really important global shit then if we can't?
Oh shit! What happened? No,
I don't know. It's black screen. It kind of represents the state of the world right
Headlines.
now. Headlines. Well, yeah.
Headlines.
So, welcome to the world's most creatively titled segment ever, and I believe we still hold a copyright for this. This segment's called Headlines, and all joking aside, I think we all kind of had. It tends to happen when Ben and I take a week off from the show. Something absolutely.
I thought we were going to talk about Kevin McCarthy losing his job as Speaker of the House.
I mean, we were before
4 days ago. That's what we were going to talk about. Pretty extensively.
We were going to talk about the GOP in disarray, and you know, as things tend to hold true, and when Ben and I take a week off, things happen, and you literally kind of have to be in some sort of rabbit hole. Some kind of dark retreat, some kind of 10-day meditation experience where you're just completely cut off from the world to know what happened over the weekend. Dad from Broox is in Dad from Broox. Meet Margie. Margie rules, Dad. Just to let you know.
Yeah, you'd have to be born under a rock and have no access to social media or television in any sort of form to not know what.
And I'm talking about shortwave radio or AM handset radio.
Completely cut off to not know.
Much like Gaza is, and here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, over the weekend, early Saturday morning, attacks began to roll into Israel from Palestinian enclave or I guess settlement in Gaza. And I'm not here to go over like the we're well into this situation and it's being declared a war, right? So the initial details and such, I think we can take a moment here and just say we're just going to kind of condense those things into okay, so we know, like, 7,000 rockets were fired and there were incursions and military outposts, Israeli Defense Force outposts taken and military equipment stolen, and Palestinians, non-Hamas supporting Palestinians hiding for their lives. This entire situation probably, and to be honest with you, deserves a softer touch than Ben and I can provide, than anybody other than the most
Probably.
expert of experts could provide, right? But here we are providing a forum to talk about what is clearly now a very touchy and delicate situation where, much like in real life, uh, there really isn't a hard line good and bad. And
I
I
think
hope that makes
that's
sense.
right there. And to kind of clarify that a step, like it's really hard to choose a side to support in this conflict because both sides have a whole lot of blame and a whole lot of horrible things that have been done to the other side. This is just the latest in the back and forth tit for tat that has been going on in this region for literally thousands of years now at this point. We're this is all rooted, because I've run into a lot of people that don't really know what the root of the conflict is here, and it is all based on religion. It's based on a conflict of religions and a conflict over quote unquote ownership of a piece of land in the Middle East.
So,
And both sets consider it holy land.
right.
Both feel they have rights, quote unquote, rights to that land. And this is just an ongoing conflict that is ultimately based in that. Now, there are off roots that may come off of that have, again, the tit for tat down the line, but it's all, if you boil it all back down, it ultimately comes down to a fight over who owns land, because God told Abraham that that land was for the Jewish people.
And a lot, there's a lot to unpack there, right? So you have to then preface, and I'm just going to, we should all know this, and we all probably do, but that Abraham is the father of both the Jewish, thus Christian, and Islamic faith. Like he is kind of one of the prophets
right.
that are respected on both sides. Let's put it into sports terms, because that's apparently where
Yeah.
this mentality
There's
is
teams now.
kind of
Yeah.
set into, right? It's my team versus your team, and then obviously, like you said, Ben, not a recent thing. That and it just so ironically happens to be the center and why the most holy spot in Islam is Mecca, right? But the second most holy spot is Al Aqsa in Jerusalem, is like the Temple Mount, basically the same most holy landmark in Judaism. So there is some share. This is not just a religious war, Ben. This is a family war. This is a war of people who share a tremendous amount of genetic history together. It is just, again, so nuanced that it
Yeah.
feels it's trepidatious to like say something, because you don't want to be like, oh shit, I don't want to get on the bad side of this, I don't want to get on the bad side of that. I want to understand the root in the history, and what you said, that this has been going on for thousands of years. This is not just a situation where after World War II the world agreed to give a piece of what
Right.
was Palestine to the Jews to create Israel. This goes back to the Crusades. This goes back to prior to the Crusades, that they've fought wars about this piece of land for longer than ink existed.
Think about that. Think about that. This is just the latest in a war that's been going on before ink existed. That's what we're talking. And it's, as someone who is non-religious, right? It when I see this, all I see is this is all unnecessary. This is all, people are dying over silliness, over who has ownership of land. I mean, you know how I feel about ownership of land. That's a whole other thing, right?
Right.
Like you have the religious part of it, and then you have the land ownership part of it. And I don't agree with either one of those things. So for me, I look at this conflict and go, whatever happens there, I'm not picking sides. I know that. It's sad that innocent people, it's awful that babies are being decapitated and people are being captured and innocent people are being slaughtered on both sides. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. But what I'm not going to do is pick sides in this thing. Picking sides is that might be the most trepidatious thing that is involved in this whole thing. Like I don't know how you can pick a side and feel good about what side you picked on this one. I would rather just sit it out and go, both sides are wrong here. And it's just really sad that innocent people are getting caught in the middle of this holy nonsense. It's all I can say. It's not, to me, it just feels like nonsense, meaningless death.
Well,
these people are dying for no reason.
There is that. We can't not acknowledge that. I also want to welcome, I think, Stony McGee for the first time.
How about it?
Our good friend Giovanni, long
Yeah.
time. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the program show. Welcome
Big
to
fan
the
of the
Thunderdome.
big fan of the show in our past life.
Right. One of those past lives.
Yeah.
What you were saying about like not being able to take a side. We've talked ad nauseum about the Russia-Ukraine situation. Sure. We've talked about the situation in Iran. We've talked about uprising. We've talked about the war of Saudi Arabia against Yemen. We've talked about a lot of different conflicts across the globe over the last. Ben, did you know this is episode 130?
Jesus.
Hello.
Wow.
But not Jesus. Hello.
Right. Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of different conflicts, and this one specifically feels different.
Yes, I agree. Because again, on all those other conflicts, I can be swayed, or I can see, given presented all of the facts, can see that at least I feel one side is the aggressor in the situation. Russia and Ukraine. I can see that Ukraine is just wanting to live their fucking life and do their thing, and Russia is trying to invade and take their land from them. I could see that there. Now, is Ukraine perfect? No. There is some shit that goes on in Ukraine that is not perfect. No doubt. But if I got to weigh the two, Russia and Ukraine, I'm going to give my support to Ukraine because I think the facts bear that out. Like you say here, this one feels different because, man, if you dig in, you cannot listen to the American media on this, because the American media and the American government have immediately and without hesitation supported Israel in this conflict and have pushed a narrative in the media. And this goes to, it sounds like I'm going right wing on you here, but this is what feeds into this, is that there is a lot of propaganda and not telling both sides of the story that is going on in the mainstream media and coming from our government officials right now. They're this unwavering, this jumping in and supporting Israel, and this our supports with Israel. The world is behind Israel here. Whoa. Are we sure we know who we're getting into bed with here? If we're going to just jump in with Israel here, are we fully educated on what's going the fuck on here? You mentioned it. Stay tuned, Ryan. I've got something from Al Jazeera that I wanted to bring up and is going to tell another side of the story. But yes, the American media is not telling you both sides of this story, and that is frustrating. And it feeds that narrative. And I know I'm kind of going left here, or right, if you will. But it does feed that narrative that the media, if they want to tell a side of a story, you can see they can tell that side of the story, and they can push that narrative and hide the other aspects of the story very, very easily. And they don't even think twice about it.
Well, then don't tease them. Just that I'm going to give you the platform, sir, because that was your story that you wanted to do. So I want you
Yeah.
to
Oops.
go for it, and not in a bad way, because I think you have a very important and a very obviously well thought out one.
Yes.
Uh,
So this
uh,
is an opinion piece. I want to point out it is an opinion piece from Al Jazeera, right? So take that for what it's worth. But this guy is a professor of sociology at Mount Royal University in Calgary, Canada. And he wrote this April 10th of this year, right? And so this is well before. A couple of things I want to point out here is this paragraph here. Israeli violence is first and foremost structural. It involves the dehumanization of Palestinian people in Israeli culture, education, and politics, the checkpoints, the apartheid wall, the besiegement of the Gaza Strip, the home demolitions, the permit system, the economic hardships Palestinians suffer, the restrictions on Palestinian access to healthcare and social services, the imprisonment, the denial of freedom of movement, the limited access to holy places, the stealing of Palestinian lands, the building and expansions of legal settlements, and so on. Succinctly put, this structural violence concerns Israeli legal, political, cultural, and economic structures that are designed to strip Palestinians of their sovereignty and freedom, denying them basic human and political rights, exposing them to uninhibited Israeli state military violence. Israeli violence is also carried out by identifiable agents, the military onslaughts, the raids on Palestinian cities, towns, and places of worship, torture in prisons, settler militia violence, police shootings and beatings, and so on. These lists are not exhaustive of all the forms of Israeli violence that fall within these two genotypes. Israel saturates the world of Palestinians with settler colonial violence. There is no break, no relief, no space to breathe, no time to recover. This is what Israel is doing to these people. So you can understand almost why the Palestinians would view the Israelis as the terrorists. And you can understand why the Israelis could view the Palestinians as terrorists, because they are doing things like coordinated attacks on innocent people and taking hostages of innocent people. Both sides are awful. Both sides are doing terrible things to each other. So to throw your support without even thinking and or even knowing this, I think there's a lot of people in the media and in the government and the people that on your social media that are throwing out their support for Israel that either don't know that these things are going on to the Palestinian people, or they do know, and there's something else there that I guess it probably goes back to religious bigotry, if nothing else. I don't know what else it could be, and I don't understand how you could pick a side here when you understand, what is happening to the Palestinian people. It's bad on both sides. The Amnesty International. They're a fairly respected organization as far as what's going on in the world, right? I mean, is that fair to say, or am I maybe talking out of turn there? But Amnesty,
there have been some interesting turns in the organization in the last couple of years. So,
okay,
but for the most part, it does have that reputation that you're speaking of. But it's complicated. Let's just say that.
okay,
The whole thing is complicated.
fair enough. The Amnesty International recently talked about this, and I thought this was important to talk about as well. Is Israel's continuing oppressive and discriminatory system of governing Palestinians in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territories (OPT) constituted a system of apartheid, and Israeli officials committed the crime of apartheid under international law. Israeli forces launched a 3-day offensive on the occupied Gaza Strip in August, during which they committed apparent war crimes. This compounded the impact of a 15-year ongoing Israeli blockade that amounts to illegal collective punishment and further fragments Palestinian territory. Israel escalated its crackdown on Palestinians' freedom of association. It also imposed arbitrary restrictions on freedom of movement and closures that amounted to collective punishment, mainly in the northern West Bank, ostensibly in response to armed attacks by Palestinians on Israeli soldiers and settlers. The year saw a rise in the number of Palestinians unlawfully killed and seriously injured by Israeli forces during raids in the West Bank. Administrative detentions of Palestinians hit a 14-year high, and torture and other ill treatment continued. Israeli forces demolished Al-Arqib village,
Al-Aqib.
In the Negev Nakab for the 211th time. They demolished it for the 211th time. A further 35 Palestinian Bedouin towns in Israel were still denied formal recognition, and residents faced possible forcible transfer. Authorities failed to process asylum claims for thousands of asylum seekers and imposed restrictions on their rights to work. This goes to what was said before, that Israel is now, obviously, Palestinians are getting the fuck out of this area because of this. And now they're refugees, if they can. They're fleeing as refugees to other countries. And you see how everyone is reacting around the world to immigration these days and refugees these days. It's just, you can
Gaza's
understand.
been locked down, so there's no way in or out of Gaza at this point. It's literally surrounded by IDF forces. And I want to take this moment to say that I think it's okay to criticize the Israeli government and still support the Jewish people, while at the same time say,
yes,
Hamas sucks asshole, but I also support a 2-state Palestinian-Israeli solution.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I think it's okay to say both of those things. And like
I
I was
agree with
saying
you
earlier, it's so nuanced because this is so different than, like, let's just use the blunt example of Russia, Ukraine. It is not okay for Russia to come in and annex the Donbass and Crimea and just be like, we're here. This is ours now. Not cool. Get the fuck out.
Right.
But in this situation, because of the nuance, and that's what makes this whole conversation very difficult to navigate, and again to I guess articulate your opinion, that it doesn't sound like you're going to be a target of the Anti-Defamation League.
Yes, because if you criticize, if you don't support Israel on social media particularly, and in some corners of social media, you are immediately labeled as anti-Semitic. If you don't fully support Israel in this conflict, you can be painted with that brush that you're somehow anti-Semitic, and that I think that is totally unfair and speaks to your point you're talking about, that governments and the high levels of the religions that are stoking the flames of this conflict, they're the ones that deserve the criticism and the sharp eye and making sure that they're doing. But the people themselves, the ones that are out unfortunately most affected, I do nothing but sympathize with those people, because they don't want this. They don't want these bombings. And why does the response to the attack have to be the bombing of the other people again? I mean, that because Israel's immediate response was, we're going to bomb the fuck out of the Gaza Strip. What does that accomplish? All you're doing is, again, the tit for tat that never fucking ends.
You have to go after the bad guys. So if people came in and let's just say like MAGA folks paratroopered into Burning Man, and just started slaughtering people, you would expect there would be a response, right? So that so I understand your point, right? I
Yeah,
understand,
I think there's a
and
better.
that
It's
George
the
Bush
human
mentality.
mentality. There is a
It's to punch
human
back.
eye for an eye
Yeah.
for an eye mentality that is inbred in humans. I get that.
Ben, I want to take this into a kind of a different direction here, because while I certainly consider this a very serious situation, and I don't want to downplay this and try to compartmentalize this right now,
Sure.
but I think this is just one piece of a bigger topic, if I
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
Can we skip to that CBS story that I have up there?
Yes. The U.S. intelligence indicates.
Correct. According to U.S. intelligence, Iranian officials were also surprised by this Hamas attack on Israel.
Yes.
Now, everybody's in a rush to
Mhm.
point at Iran. Naturally, fucking naturally, right?
Sure.
They have also pushed the $6 billion held by Qatar. So we're going to talk about the disinformation about this in just a second. Too.
Thank you, please, because you're going to get me all riled up in a new way with that.
It's ridiculous. But this is CBS reporting, right? So look, in these murky times, as much as we can't trust the media, we should trust at least some nuggets of this. If Iran was surprised by this attack, and I'm sure not every official in Iran was surprised by this, what does that mean? They had no knowledge of this level of attack, this declaration of war by a group they admittedly directly support financially and militarily. What does that mean, Ben?
Well, it means that Hamas may have kind of gone rogue a little bit.
Ben, can I take you to the next story from Reuters from May of 2017? Y'all remember 2017? When it was widely reported that Trump revealed intelligence secrets to Russia in the Oval Office.
Wait, what?
There are famous pictures. Oh god.
Oh yeah, and it was about a planned
Trump
Islamic State operation.
Trump was given a soccer ball from a Russian soccer ball by Sergei Lavrov, foreign minister of Russia. All these pictures, they're all laughing. Ha 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 ha. Several reports came out from that situation. Now this is coming. This is a story from 2017.
Wow.
That Trump disclosed secret intelligence of our allies to the Russians.
So do you think, let me understand what you're trying to say here. Do you think that Russia was behind this Hamas attack on Israel?
I'm not done yet.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
This is the 2017 meeting between a dude who just got into office.
Right. Yeah.
27. He took the oath of office in January of that year.
This is May. Yeah.
And in May, he's accused of telling state, international, super secret secrets, top secret stuff to the Russians. That sounds like, hey, I'm done yet. I'm paying my bill. I'm not done yet. Let me point you to a meeting, Ben, where Moscow invited Hamas to meet with them.
God damn it, Brooks.
In September 10th of 2022. Senior leaders, this is from the Jerusalem Post. The chief political leader of the Palestinian terrorist organization Hamas landed in Moscow on Saturday ahead of their meeting with foreign Russian minister Sergei Lavrov. The Gaza-based terror group said.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Well, I just went back to the other. Hold on. Hold the fuck on. You mean this Sergei Lavrov, who was in the meeting with Trump, that he revealed plans about a planned Islamic State operation? That Sergei Lavrov was also part of a meeting in Moscow with the leader of Hamas.
Sergei Lavrov must be immortal because he has thus far been that close to Putin and not found his unfortunate way out of a window.
Yeah, or he's either that or he's doing the work that Putin is asking him to.
He's very effective in his job. Let's just say that.
Oh,
so yes,
Brooks,
Ben, the same.
You're laying the breadcrumbs. You're laying the breadcrumbs right here.
Because I want to know the real troublemakers in the world. Because this was take a step back. This attack by Hamas was way more sophisticated than any intelligence operation gave them credit for.
Sure.
This is special mission. This is special forces type operation and effectiveness, right? Mm-hmm. Multiple fronts, surprise attacks from the air, land, and sea. So you had multiple points of entry.
Dudes with like hang gliders.
That's what there were, like at least
there was pictures of it. I saw video of it. Yeah,
that flew into that music festival with heavy machine guns. And
it was highly coordinated. That's for goddamn sure. And for U.S. intelligence to apparently have not known anything about this attack, didn't know it was coming, and Israeli intelligence to not known it was coming. That level of planning, like you just said, without coming on the radar. How do you do that? And Iran doesn't know?
Of course, this is all on the precipice of Israel signing an accord with Saudi Arabia to normalize relationships with Israel, Saudi, and the United States, which would present a huge problem for Iran and presumably Russia. But that doesn't make sense, right? Because we know the Saudi crown prince is close with Putin and at least aligned ideologically with Putin, right? Ben, the next story, please, if you don't mind, from Haaretz.com. This was from March of this year. Another meeting of Hamas and Kremlin operatives. Now I didn't want to sign up, so I didn't want to get the whole story. But there's the headline.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not subscribing. Sorry.
I'm not subscribing either. Sorry, but you see,
but the headline and the date is all we really need.
Is all we really need to know. And why would Russia invite formally for diplomatic relations a known and described terrorist organization determined to rule Israel?
Holy shit, Brooks. I didn't see this coming. You got me on this one. This connection, I don't think anybody has made this connection.
Oh, there actually is. They're really.
Is there? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough. I haven't seen it.
I'm not cutting that chair.
Nobody. Okay. You. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, I've been on the game. I've been following the game for a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But this connection is too much.
I know my history.
Come on.
I know my history when it comes to Russia. Okay.
The same guy. It would be different if it was two different Russians. But the same guy who was in the meeting with Trump where he was giving away.
Well, Kislyak was in there too, and he's even more problematic than Sir because he's on the
but this other guy was now we could say his name is directly linked to a meeting with Hamas leaders. This guy, there's a direct link?
And Kislyak was directly involved with Paul Manafort and all the
Wow.
business in Ukraine. And of course, we all know who Paul Manafort became was Trump's first, I'm sorry, second campaign manager that made all these. Hey, Ben, remember when somebody got popped in the Trump White House for trying to create a backdoor to Russia, a backdoor communique to Russia? Hey,
Mhm.
Ben, remember when, I don't know, Jared Kushner received a cool $2 billion from Russia-friendly Saudi Arabia for his failing real estate business? And literally, when I say the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Saladin of Saudi Arabia said, quote, keep it, when somebody asked him, what about that $2 billion that's in a failed real estate? He said, keep it.
You just keep it. Jesus.
Look, Trump did some good things. I'll say it. There were some good things that happened. There's no way to
bringing the troops home from Afghanistan. I agree with.
Even though that plan got fucked up too, right?
Sure.
But he said,
But on its route, I agree with the idea of get the fucking people out of there, get them home.
And as a healthcare worker, I do appreciate the expediency of the vaccine production, and I'm not even going to go down that wormhole because
Right.
trust
We'll
me,
just stop there. But yes, get what you're
don't
saying.
don't even. All right.
Yeah.
However, when you see this much smoke, don't you go, well, if that's not on fire, there's certainly a problem.
Yeah, for sure.
How many times do we have to point out that Russia's a really big problem on the global stage?
They have their fucking fingers in everything.
And expertly, right? They look, 3/4 of Russian citizens do not have indoor plumbing.
That's so hard to fathom.
The entire country of Russia sits on top of $75 trillion worth of natural resources in minerals, ores, and oil. And a very select few of individuals ever taste those fruits.
So gross.
And their military clearly has not been upkept. And we have talked numerous times on this show about where Russia really puts their resources. Here in America, we love our military, right? And we certainly do budget-wise, right? Flip that for the Russians, because they put those resources into their psyops. They put those resources into propaganda. And we've also long talked about how they see the long game. And ladies and gentlemen, I just brought you a story from 2017 that ties into something that just happened this weekend.
Unbelievable. That is incredible.
Their vision and their ability and patience to play the long game and to slowly move those pieces into place to allow certain things to happen that happen to fall in line with, I don't know, several other game boards that they're playing should never be discounted. Some of the best chess players in the world come from Russia for very good reasons.
There you go. Also, great point. Let me ask this, because this bears asking.
Let's go.
What does Russia have to gain by this attack on Israel? Because they don't do it if there's not something to gain for them. Again, it's maybe obvious, and I'm not collecting it here, but what's the gain for Russia supporting Hamas in this attack on Israel and helping them coordinate this?
Look,
we don't know yet.
I don't know, man.
Yet.
And dude, I'm just, I'm just trying to,
but if we're going to speculate, what would we speculate it might be?
There's a longer part. So there was already one U.S. Aircraft carrier in the Israel. So they just moved
attention. Maybe.
So they just moved another. The United States just ordered the USS Gerald Ford into the Mediterranean. We're not talking about Ukraine right now, are we?
Correct.
So combine that with what's going on in U.S.
Hansen
Congress
picked
right
that
now,
too, yeah.
that the House of Representatives, we do not have a Speaker of the House. We do not have a way to bring legislation to the floor of Congress right now.
Think about that.
Tommy Tuberville has been blocking nominations for over 300 U.S. military promotions right now, handicapping our armed forces of their brain power. Like, think about all of these things that are going on right now. I don't believe in coincidences right now, right?
It's very hard to believe in
what
coincidence.
happened on Saturday in Israel was on the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War. And those strikes were not strategized and planned for a day any other than that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they clearly were planned years out.
Yep,
years out. So
maybe like as far as back as 2017.
The planning of this type,
yeah,
to get the equipment, to get the necessary funds, to get the people trained, to get everybody on the same game plan, to put yourself on that side of the equation, right? Like that's not something you cook up overnight and get all those people on board. Like, hey, let's go. This is the plan, and everybody executes everything.
Wouldn't it have been nice?
Perfectly.
Wouldn't it have been nice if back in 2017 they were able to get some information, highly classified information, about a planned Islamic State operation? How valuable would that be if you were going to plan something years in advance? What kind of intelligence would that how that intelligence help? How would that help?
He was the Pandora's box, because think about the Helsinki situation and how he looked like an owned wet dog by Putin on that, right? Think the dude took how many boxes of classified top secret documents to his house?
Yep.
And stored them where?
Mm-hmm.
In the bathroom.
Where he was having meetings with Saudi officials. Yes.
And now all of a sudden we're recalling these stories that, like, oh yeah, he shared some secrets. I don't know. Maybe he shared defense point weaknesses. Maybe he shared passwords to. We don't know, because clearly this entire situation in Israel was a tragic failure of intelligence, defense, and government to protect their people.
100%. Yep.
Right. One of those things, Ben, that maybe contributed was something we talk about often here on this podcast too, is that there is no longer a real method of trusting your sources. And as somebody who is OG Twitter and often laments the purchase of Twitter by Elon Musk because it has become a horrible place.
My phone finally updated and I no longer have the Twitter.
You sent me that. You sent me the picture, and I do have that. I'm gonna replace that stupid fucking X. Anyway, it didn't take long, ladies and gentlemen, to see Twitter become a cesspool of misinformation. Mm-hmm. Not only misinformation, but also AI fakery. The fake AI videos out there right now, it is very difficult for this very seasoned Twitter scroller to make out now what is accurate and what is not, because you can't just go, oh, I looked at 2 or 3 verified sources. What does that mean now? Because I could pay $8 and get a blue check too.
Well, yeah, exactly. Oh, Jesus. They favor posts, surprise, surprise, from the people that pay. And then those people are eligible for payments. So basically, if I understand this correctly, because from what I understand, racists and Nazis run rampant on Twitter now. And not only do they run rampant, but because they are blue check marked and and their stuff is amplified, they are actually making money off of their hatred and their hate posts and their misinformation. They're making money from Twitter off of this shit.
I just want to point out Ryan Hansen with the quote of the what will be the decade. Putin drinks all the milkshake.
Yes.
Yeah, Twitter is no longer what this is what Twitter was built for. The on the ground, in the moment, verified sources posting the truth, the live video or the reporting live. Again, I tell the story like what solidified Twitter as a social media, like where I got my news was the Fukushima accident in Japan, nuclear accident, right? Because there were people on the ground reporting what was going on, and it was sad and fascinating. And what Elon did to it, what was the World Forum, the World Town Hall, and allowed everybody in and absolutely dismantled any fact checking, any misinformation guys. And Twitter, believe it or not, had a ton of misinformation filters present before Mr. Musk decided to lose $44 billion on his venture.
Leverage Tesla stock.
But Ben, in all of that, which I'm just going to say that a recent evaluation of Twitter's worth got it at about $8 billion now. Oops. However, according to the next story from the reputable CNBC, Russia's Putin praises Elon Musk as an outstanding person and a talented businessman.
I bet.
That's saying thanks for a job well done, son.
Exactly. Yep. That is a public pat on the back. That is the closest thing you will get to a pat on the back from Vladimir Putin. Which
is exactly what somebody of Elon Musk's upbringing desires psychologically. If you know anything, you've read anything about his relationship with not only his father, but his mother, he desires that affirmation like you would not believe. The more public that affirmation, the more he feels the goodness and warm inside, even though he's a scumbag.
Yeah, I don't even, Stoney, talented is debatable for sure, because there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he just steals people's ideas and slaps his name on it. Like he steals people's. I guess there is some level that is a talent. I guess.
Don't tell me that a good pickpocket that's not talent.
I guess you're right. You're right. On some level, that I guess that I didn't mean it
as a compliment.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah. In that sense, that's a talent, but not talented in the sense that like he's a super genius that is going to get us to Mars. Like that, that's not going to happen.
Elon Musk does not own a company that has not been subsidized by a government.
Not once.
That's fucking talent. Yeah. Like it or not, I'm not saying it's a good talent, because the dude once also spout out that if the UN gave him a plan to solve world hunger, he'd spend $5 billion to do it. And the UN presented a plan that could solve it with less than $5 billion. And much like him putting up that Twitter poll of like, should I be the CEO or not? He just kind of forgot all about it. So we need to do a little bit of a cleanse.
Okay.
And folks, I think after having such a tough conversation, we need to seek the advice of a doctor.
Okay.
And we here on the show listen to the advice of a doctor.
Which doctor is this? Is this Doctor Who?
This is the doctor, Ben.
Okay.
This is a scale model of war. Every war ever fought right there in front of you. Because it's always the same. When you fire that first shot, no matter how right you feel, you have no idea who's going to die. You don't know whose children are going to scream and burn. How many hearts will be broken? How many lives shattered? How much blood will spill until everybody does what they were always going to have to do from the very beginning? Sit down and talk! Listen to me, listen. I just want you to think. Do you know what thinking is? It's just a fancy word for changing your mind.
I will not change my mind.
Then you will die stupid. Alternatively, you could step away from that box. You could walk right out of that door and you could stand your revolution down.
No. I'm not stopping this, Doctor. I started it. I will not stop it. You think they'll let me go after what I've done?
You're all the same, you screaming kids. You know that? Look at me. I'm unforgivable. Well, here's the unforeseeable. I forgive you. After all you've done, I forgive you.
You don't understand. You will never understand.
I don't understand. Are you kidding me? Of course I understand. I mean, you call this a war, this funny little thing? This is not a war. I fought in a bigger war than you will ever know. I did worse things than you could ever imagine. And when I close my eyes, I hear more screams than anyone could ever be able to count. And you know what you do with all that pain? Shall I tell you where you put it? You hold it tight till it burns your hand. And you say this: no one else will ever have to live like this. No one else will ever have to feel this pain. Not on my watch.
Well, there you go. So I've never seen that show. I've always wanted to watch it, but I've never gotten around to actually watching
Doctor Who. That is a poignant speech from an eternal being that has fought in what was called the Time Wars, that literally ripped apart dimensions. So he was, when he said "you children," he was basically saying, "You're, us.
Gotcha.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet." Ben, I think we need to do something that will make us all feel better.
Will it? Is it if it's this story? I don't know. Well, I guess this
clinical researchers move to trials for a drug that can regrow teeth.
Oh,
I've been long advocating for this because the dentists of the world, that's a racket.
Oh yeah?
Shark.
You have a problem with dentists? I didn't know this.
I have a problem with dentists. Sharks regrow their teeth every 6 weeks.
No shit.
Why the fuck don't we?
How have we not figured that out yet?
We get 2 sets of teeth. One of those sets goes away painfully by the age of 8 or 9 or whatever, right? And then we're stuck with the rest of them, and they come in all craggly and misshapen, and we gotta get. Why can't we regrow teeth?
I'm in on that. I got a couple that I had to get pulled because they got cracked that I wish I could get back.
I'm way into this, and I don't care that if you inject me with the DNA of Satan or whatever your conspiracy
You don't care
is.
how it happens. You just want to get your teeth back.
I just want teeth. I want good, clean, nice, healthy teeth that I don't have to worry about. Like I get one pulled, or I gotta get a crown, or you gotta get wisdom teeth pulled out, or I get a molar, or I chipped a tooth. No, just wait 6 weeks. You got a new pair, and you're fine.
That'd be great. I like
DNA
that.
of Satan.
DNA of Satan.
That's my
Inject me
clarinet
with it, I
band
don't
from
care.
high school. I just laughed at this one, so I wanted to include it. We talk about the dangers of AI, right? Apparently, somebody got really super creative with Microsoft's AI, and Microsoft saw fit to kind of they call lobotomize the program, because somebody basically put in Mickey Mouse and 9/11, and the following picture was generated by AI.
Whoa!
I'm not trying to laugh about 9/11, right?
Yes, but holy shit. Hold on.
Interesting that they included Tower 7 right there.
Hold on. You guys need to see this in full screen. Look at that. Wow. AI. Holy
Don't blame me,
shit.
folks. Blame the person who asked the AI to show me Mickey Mouse flying a plane into one of the towers. Even though how historically that is not accurate, because
Well, no,
both
not only is
towers
it not
are.
historically accurate, but look at Mickey Mouse's left arm and how ridiculously long and twisted it is.
I mean, is a mouse wearing pants? So we've already lost the whole idea of reality.
He also is holding a gun too.
Yes,
so.
right. A firearm, accurately.
Fair enough. Fair
Right,
enough. Yeah.
right. So there's that. So a little bit of humor
Wow.
there. Ben,
I'm gonna save that as my screensaver on my computer.
that's a thing right there. Like you want to you want to generate some heated conversations.
Yeah,
Post that picture.
my computer at work. I'm gonna put that as the background.
Yeah, right.
Starting tomorrow.
Too soon for Disney or for 9/11. Hey,
yeah,
anyway.
which one?
Speaking of baby too soon, thanks for the segue, Stoney. Ben, we talked about this satellite when it was launched. We talked about this mission when it was conceived. And Ben, as they say, the results are in. We shot a satellite out into space to merge with an asteroid, Bennu, Bennu. The point of the mission was that Bennu was going to get as close and land as quickly as possible on this ginormous asteroid, drill in some samples, hermetically seal those samples, and then return to Earth.
That's incredible. That's possible.
It
seems like out of the movie.
It just happened.
Yeah, it seems like something out of the movie. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to attach this thing to an asteroid. We're going to drill into it, and then we're going to hermetically seal it, and then this thing is going to get off of the asteroid and fly back to Earth. That just doesn't seem realistic. That doesn't seem real.
It was a total of a 4 billion mile journey.
Jesus.
And this capsule landed, I believe, in the Arizona or Nevada desert about a month ago. I think it was like September 20th or something like that. That the actual capsule containing, because the whole thing didn't make it back, just the important parts, right? They call it the glove box. Well, they finally opened the glove box, Ben.
Okay.
And
they found a virus.
They've discovered organic carbon and water.
Okay.
This is monumental because this specifically marks the first time we have confirmed water outside of the moon or our planet. On asteroids that routinely hit planetary objects. Further giving credence to the idea that asteroids and comets seed life on planets when they land and hit because they have these minerals and compounds and water. Let's be very clear. We do not understand life unless it involves water. That is one of the most identifying traits of life that we have.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, that makes sense.
Water is essential to what we understand as life. Now, I don't know. It could be something else for something else. Universe,
right? Yeah, that's just an assumption based on what we know about us as a species, right?
So they've got this glove box back, and as they do with real science, they're sending samples out, under the highest security and the most stringent quarantine procedures possible to multiple labs across the globe because they want to confirm findings. So everybody else gets a chance to take a look and say, oh, yes, absolutely. That is carbon. That is organic carbon. You found organic carbon. I know this doesn't sound like much. This is a really, really big deal in not only the conversation of is there life somewhere else or the possibility of life somewhere else, but like what also happened in our solar system, because this asteroid rotates in the Kuiper Belt. This is something that like there's a planet missing from our solar system, according to most, at least, I don't want to say most because I don't want to speak for them, but there are a lot of hypotheses to say there's a missing planet in our solar system for a lot of reasons. Something happened. So just the idea that we landed a robot, basically.
I think it's incredible. Just the idea of we landed something on an asteroid that is moving, drilled into it, took some shit out of it, and then detached and flew back to Earth. That is an amazing feat of technology and science just in and of itself. What they discovered with it is a whole another leap in knowledge, but just that we even did that is incredible.
And it was done on the cheap as far as their budget, because the NASA budget has shrunk.
Right. It's like nothing. So imagine what we could do if we,
funded them,
gave it like a military style budget.
And just said, wow, you guys got crazy imagination. What's your craziest idea? Like, we want to try this. Okay.
Let's do that. Instead, we build stealth bombers. Whatever.
Well, those are cool too. I like stealth bombers. They're neat.
Okay, fine. Not as cool as fat bears, though.
No, and I don't know how we missed this, Ben, but there was apparently a fat bear week.
Didn't we talk? We talked about this last year.
Did we?
100%.
Ah, fuck. But we
I am
missed
sure
it
that we talked about Fat Bear Week. This is not the first time we've talked about it. I thought that's why you were bringing it up, is because we talked about it last year. Yes.
We did. We missed it. Well, we missed it again. And I'm going to have to set a reminder to remind myself.
Is it the same bear? Because the same bear had won like multiple years prior too.
The moment has arrived. Fat Bear Week 2023 has come to a close, and we have a winner. Feast your eyes on Grazer.
Whoa.
This is something you can vote on. So we definitely need to get on this next year. So next year,
bear cubs are vulnerable.
Whoops. Sorry.
We're definitely getting involved in Fat Bear Week, because that's fucking awesome that there's a Fat Bear Week.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Grazer is a feisty queen who takes no prisoners when it comes to protecting her cubs. Her defensive prowess has gained her quite a reputation among keen observers of the Katamai National Park and preserves bears in recent weeks. She protects, she attacks, but most importantly, she snacks. On loads of salmon, Grazer has been described as one of the best anglers at Brooks River. You're welcome. A skill that will stand you in good stead if you're a bear trying to reach peak rotundity before the long winter hibernation. Diligent day and night fishing and a fearsome streak that keeps the competition away. That's a recipe for victory. So she's the chonk queen.
She doesn't seem like, because the last bear was like super fat. This bear is just, she does not seem to be like a super fat bear. Which I think is defeating the purpose of
a little bit.
bear.
This is from the actual. The next link is from the actual voting place for Fat Bear Week, and you can see the top two candidates, Chunk and Grazer. And you scroll down. Actually, if you scroll down, you'll see an actual like picture of them. That's the tourney bracket right there.
All right. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
There's your first.
Which one's which? Hold on.
Grazer's on the right with 108,000 votes.
That's definitely the fat bear. That is a hugely fat bear. That is a definitely fat bear.
We love a fat bear here on the show.
Yes, that is a definitely fat bear. Yeah.
So congratulations to Grazer.
Grazer. Good job.
Yeah. Man. Welcome, Grazer, to the Hall of Fame. Or welcome into the most popular segment on the show. You've been waiting a long time for this. It's been 2 weeks. It's been at least an hour. It's the lightning round. Ladies and gentlemen, bolts are up in the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Thunderdome. If you're not familiar with the show or the program, let me explain this segment. We read 3 stories. We basically say 3 stories, enter the Thunderdome. You, the people, choose one, and we read that story. It's a simple democracy here on the show, folks. No frills, no fuss, no buts. We get right down to it. Headline number 1. Kentucky man allegedly shoots roommate for eating their last Hot Pocket.
I could see how that could happen.
You'd shoot a man.
It sounds like a Kentucky thing. Yes.
Headline number 2, sent to us by Tipton Moscow. You know
Yes.
Tipton.
He's a good man.
He is a good man. Veneta Park woman charged after driving for miles with husband on hood.
just imagine the visual. Miles.
I can hang on to your hood for miles and miles. And headline number 3. Pilot accused of throwing tomatoes from plane pleads not guilty to stalking a New York woman by air. As we tend to do, ladies and gentlemen, here, as you're assuredly reeling and trying to understand what you just heard, we are going to allow you a moment or 3 here to contabulate your thoughts as we quickly write down on a 5x7 note card 1, 2, and 3. And this is where the voting begins, ladies and gentlemen. But don't make a rash decision.
Yeah, you got to hear those one more time.
You got to hear these one more time. So, without dilly or dally, headline again, number 1. Kentucky man allegedly shoots roommate for eating their last Hot Pocket. Headline number 2. Veneta Park woman charged after driving for miles with her husband on a hood. And headline number 3. Pilot accused of throwing tomatoes from plane pleads not guilty to stalking a New York woman by air. Bombs away. And cherry tomatoes away. So, folks.
All right, let's get them.
Let's vote.
The votes are coming in. Stony McGee breaks the seal. He's going with 1.
Let's see.
Biz going with number 1. Gigi going with number 3. And Chris going with number 2. This is the first time I think all 3 stories have gotten voted on in a long time. Number 2, the VIPs. Number 2 and number 3. Number 2. Wow. We're going to have a close one. I might have to tie break this one.
Let's see. All right. Did you want to do the Ryan Hansen remix really quick?
We did it already. I put it up there. Hot Pocket Thief gets a hot one. Human hood ornament and bombs away.
I was stalling for time there.
Oh, yeah. I already put it up on the screen.
Okay.
Stop the count. The pipe busted.
Let's see.
So what do we got? We got.
I don't have votes from. I don't think we got a Dan F. from Brooks.
Dan F. from Brooks did number 2.
Did he? God.
Yep.
Damn, yeah, he did. Yeah,
Ma Jordan went with number 3. If they all tie, we get them all. No.
Legit. I think we're at a 3-way tie right now.
Are we seriously?
Yeah. Hold on.
Wait. Adrian just texted me number 1.
Adrian. Oh shit. Okay. And I know
that's the last. That's a late vote, but that might break the tie.
I think it did actually. Let me go back and let's make sure. Let's have a recount, Arizona. Let's make sure.
So,
got 1.
Stony McGee went with number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Biz went with number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian went with number 1. That's 3 votes for number 1. That is more than any of the other 2. Then because the other votes got split.
2.
Wait, no, because there's 3 for number 2. So there is still a tie. Yes. So I have to break the tie between number 1 and number 2. And do I defy my wife and go with a different story, or do I have to agree with her because it's my wife? I have to live with her, so I have to go with one. I have to go with her.
I don't offer marital advice, Ben.
I mean, it's okay. I go with my wife, or I go with Tipton Moscow. I'm so torn. Let's go with number 1.
Oof. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this took longer than it should have, but here we are. Story number 1. Kentucky man allegedly shoots roommate for eating their last Hot Pocket. In a bizarre story out of Kentucky, a man was arrested. Oh, wait, you know what? Let me send it. Oh, wait. Before I continue, let me send this.
I did laugh the loudest at number 3, but because the headline, the idea of a guy throwing tomatoes out of a plane is fairly hilarious.
While
But
stalking a woman.
right,
I think y'all honestly missed the lead there. Y'all buried the lead, but hey,
yeah, we may have.
it's a democracy and we don't contest that stuff. The people voted. Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, it is what it
In a
is.
bizarre story out of Kentucky, a man was arrested for allegedly shooting his roommate for, of all things, eating their last Hot Pocket. The very strange dispute reportedly unfolded this past Saturday evening in the city of Louisville when Clifton E. Williams went to dine on one of the popular microwavable turnovers and discovered, to his profound chagrin, that there were no more of the meat and cheese-filled snacks to be found in the freezer. The hangry man's attention soon turned towards his unnamed roommate, who copped to eating the coveted final Hot Pocket, leading to a brawl erupting between the two men. During the melee, authorities say Williams pelted the man with tiles, which led to his roommate to understandably flee the residence in hopes that cooler heads would prevail, not with a Hot Pocket dispute. However,
Right.
according to police, Williams was not done fighting as he actually grabbed a gun and chased after the perceived thief and fired a shot, which struck the man in his backside. Tuckus.
Oh,
Cops eventually arrived on the scene and arrested Williams for second-degree assault. If convicted, he could face between 5 and 10 years in prison for the misadventure. That's creative.
that's
right.
a way. Yeah, that's a great way to put that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing all of that heavy lifting. Misadventure, which is rather a steep price to pay for a snack food that usually costs less than $5. Fortunately, his roommate's injuries were not life-threatening, though it may be a while before he sits down for this next Hot Pocket. I did not write that. I didn't.
No.
Nope. Folks, do you want to hear? Do we need to break tradition here a little bit? Should we hear 3? Yeah.
Oh,
That like somebody picks my sleeper candidate. Hey,
you know what? You wait a couple of weeks and mix that back in. No one will even remember, and we'll probably get.
That's what we're counting on, folks. And it's just like the media. Welcome to the closing segment of Topic Thunder, folks. It's our little internet saloon, and we are proud and happy to pour information and conversation to the thirsty people who show up in the Thunderdome, the world's most dangerous chat zone. And we, of course, thank you for your patronage and for showing up and for your conversation and just offering us a medium to have a conversation about the weird things that we like to talk about and you like to respond to. So it makes it all work, folks. From the decks of the USS Rapapa, I'm Brooks. That's Ben.